Hi, and welcome to the Merryweather Knitting Podcast. My name is Gabriella, and I'm coming to you from my home in Germany, where I'm so excited to chat with you today about all that I've been knitting and making and creatively inspired by this week. It is a very beautiful June day today, and I have the windows cracked open because we live in an old two-story house, and each story is separated into an apartment. And we live in the upper apartment, and here it can get very stuffy in the summer, so we need the windows open, we need fans blowing air coming through from every direction. That means you might hear a little bit of noise from the outside world throughout this video. I hope that it doesn't bother you. Hopefully there's lots of beautiful bird song that the camera picks up, rather than any kind of traffic noise. Because bird song is always perfect music, beautiful music, I think. But anyway, this week I have a couple of very exciting things to show you. I feel like I've made good progress and no finished objects today, but I have a couple of half objects to share with you. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And I also have, something with which I need a little bit of advice. I need a little bit of your opinion on. And so hopefully you can help me with that. At the end of the video, I also want to share with you a few podcasts that I've been enjoying that maybe you'd also like to enjoy if you want some new podcast inspiration. But I'm going to start with my first half object, which I had not even cast on last week. And now I cast it on. I finished the first half and I'm, getting close to being maybe 3/4 of the way finished with the whole entire project, and that is this pair of socks that I'm knitting. These strawberry shortcake socks is what I'm calling them. And this is my first kind of sock project for the summer sock camp knit along that I'm partaking in. And this is a knit along that's hosted by Kay of the Crazy Sock Lady podcast. If you have not watched Kay and you don't know her or her podcast, you most definitely need to check her out. She's just so much fun and just like such an amazing person. I love her podcast. And she's hosting the Summer Sock Camp, which is a kind of summer-long little knit-along where you just knit lots of socks, maybe try out new sock knitting techniques or new patterns, just knit all the socks and enjoy sock knitting in the warm summer weather. Or, if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, then it's not really the same temperature, weather, season, but it's still summer sock camp, no matter where you are in the world, which is really fun. So I started my first project, cast them on, finished the first sock. I'm knitting these out of the Regia cotton Tutti Fruiti yarn in the strawberry colorway, and hence my name for them, the strawberry shortcake socks. And I just loved it. So I started, and I wasn't sure, I had talked about how I wasn't quite sure how long I would knit the cuff, if I would do really shorty socks, or what exactly I would do with these socks. And I was thinking about, if I could get 2 pairs of socks out of 100-gram ball. I cast these on, and then I knit 20 rounds of 1x1 ribbing, because as I knit them, I kind of looked at them and examined them against my foot. I've never knit shorty socks. I've always knit long cuffed socks. I think like the shortest cuff I've ever done is like 3 inches or 4 inches. So definitely not like shorter socks ever. So I wasn't sure how they would fit and how I wanted them to fit. I knew I wanted to wear these socks with sneakers in the summertime, in the spring and summer. I wanted them to be kind of appropriate for sneakers. There's not like a huge cuff at the top, but I also don't mind a little bit of like a little sock peeking out. I think hand-knit socks are just super cute, and a little bit of like a little peeky sock is just fun, I think, especially in a colorway like this. And I just could imagine wearing like jean shorts or a white dress or like a white t-shirt with jean shorts, and then like some sneakers and these peeking out. I feel like this would be kind of a statement, even though just that kind of tiny little cuff. I feel like hand-knit socks and hand-knit pieces in general are often kind of statement pieces and pieces that just bring an outfit together. So I decided to knit this. It's super short, definitely also not long, but it's long enough that it will peek out from above the sneaker. And so I knit 20 rounds of this 1x1 rib, and I chose 1x1 rib because it's just my favorite. It's my favorite rib. It's my favorite sock, for socks at least, my favorite rib. I don't know what it is. I often do also do 2x2, there are different, kind of moments where I want different kinds. Like, I think 2x2 is a little bit more subtle, almost visually. From my perspective, I think 2x2 is kind of a little bit more subtle. It blends in nicely and isn't such a statement compared to 1x1, I think. But I really like the kind of sharpness that 1x1 rib gives, or the contrast. I don't know what it is about it. Just the texture I really like, and I think, I don't know, I end up doing 1x1 rib quite often because I just like the look it gives, specifically when I use kind of patterned socks or socks with soft striping socks, things like that. And I don't know why, but then with more plain colored socks, I often do 2x2. Everyone has their sock preference, you have to find your own favorite. What is your favorite rib to knit on a sock, or favorite kind of cuff for stitches? And maybe some people like even garter stitch, I'm not sure, but I'd love to hear what you prefer to do when you start knitting your socks. Garter stitch might not be the best because the rib does kind of hold it up for you. I feel like garter might not do that as well, but at least you'll keep it from rolling over if you don't want it to roll over. I'm not sure, but this is my first sock, and the knitting process was just so much fun. My last pair of socks was this very elaborate, beautiful lace Cornish cream tea sock pattern that I enjoyed knitting so much. But honestly, after knitting a lace sock, a plain vanilla stockinette sock, it flew off the needles for me. Honestly, I kind of now, I was like kind of shocked at how quickly it went. It is a shorty sock. It was just this tiny cuff. And I guess maybe it was also the motivation I had after finishing the cuff so quickly. It just took, it takes so quickly to finish 20 rounds. I just knit the heel right away, the gusset. I turn the heel, like I had talked about before, how sometimes I have a little block when it comes to turning the heel. Because just knitting the heel, it's this switch. But because I had just knit this so quickly, I was completely motivated, took it in stride, knit it right away. Like, it didn't bat an eye as I turned that heel, and then I just kept going and knitting, and it just went by so quickly. It was just a combination of all kinds of things which made it really a quick sock knit for me. And I guess it is also just that stockinette after doing lace, but it was so much fun, and I'm so happy to have it done. It looks so cute, and I think that the Strawberry Shortcake name is very apt, very fitting, and I love it. I was looking up the Strawberry Shortcake universe on this like Strawberry Shortcake wiki online because I was really having very strong and nostalgic feelings about Strawberry Shortcake. And if you have watched this podcast before, you'll know that I am a very deeply nostalgic person for things like this. Just all kinds of things. The past, the future, the present, I'm just very nostalgic about a lot of things. And oh my gosh, it was so cute to see the little Strawberry Shortcake characters. And have been so many incarnations of Strawberry Shortcake. You might have watched her in the 80s or the 90s or the 2000s. And even now there's a new Strawberry Shortcake. I don't know if there's a show or what it is, but there's a new version of Strawberry Shortcake. And they all are just super cute and have their own kind of personality. My cat Sagwa is sitting right here on his little perch, and he is snoring. So you might also hear his snoring. I'm noticing now he's snoring very loudly. Anyway, back to the topic of the socks and Strawberry Shortcake. So I was looking her up, and it was so cute. Because of like, I had all these memories of seeing her and also reading Strawberry Shortcake books. I loved it. I just love it. Honestly, I have to say that the 90s and 2000s Strawberry Shortcake are just mine. I recognized both of them and loved both of them because I watched them both or saw them both in those incarnations. The 80s one I think is super cute in a different way because it just reminds me of like that period of time, which I wasn't even actually like alive for, but I think it's so cute and so homey and cozy. But the 2010s, like the 2010 Strawberry Shortcake and the current Strawberry Shortcake, I didn't like them really. Like, they're definitely cute, and I know if Esmeralda ever like grows up and watches it, that's going to be her Strawberry Shortcake probably. But I don't know what it is. I feel like so many of those classic characters, when they're revived and kind of rethought artistically, they end up looking, on the one hand, like they're like computer generated a lot, computer made, drawn, animated. So, and in the 90s, a lot of them I think were like hand drawn. So there's that contrast, but also I think they look almost hyper realistic. And I don't like this like hyper realistic cartoon look. This is something I just don't like. I don't know what it is, but it's just not my thing. I don't know why. But anyway, back to the socks. I continued on to the next sock, cast it on, knit the cuff, knit the heel, and I'm now just knitting the foot. As you can see, I've made it now a couple of inches. I finished the decreases, and yeah, I'm just knitting in the round on these beautiful 9-inch circular needles. So if you are partaking in summer sock camp, you'll know that you are in a cabin. You're kind of in a cabin, and the cabin is based on the method that you are knitting your socks in. And so I am in the 9-inch circular cabin, obviously with my little 9-inch circulars. I thought about knitting with a different method, like with DPNs, which I've done before and I do enjoy, but quite honestly, I just love 9-inch circulars so much. They're my favorite way to knit socks, so I'm just knitting on them. And these are little Chiaogu US 1 needles. I guess 2.25 centimeters. But yeah, I've really, really enjoyed it. It's so much fun and just such a breezy, easy, fun, summery, light project. I also have this cute little stitch marker, which is very delicious and fun to look at. This little piece of like orange cake. I don't know if you can see a little slice of orange on the top, but it definitely livens up my knitting experience, having this fun, having this little fun slice of cake. It's not really focused, but it's very cute. And I'll put the Etsy shop that I bought this from in the description box below. Everything I speak about will be in the description box, in the show notes, as well as timestamps so that you can find anything if you're looking for anything in this video. If you want to skip over anything, you can do that below. I also want to talk about this yarn because this is the first time I've ever knit with cotton, a cotton blend for socks. And I was honestly not quite sure how the process would be knitting with a cotton yarn for socks, because cotton is often a little bit rougher on the hands, a little bit tougher. It doesn't have the flexibility, the bounce, the memory of wool. And I've just only ever knit socks using wool of some sort, with some kind of wool blend. With this Regia yarn, it's not 100% cotton. It's cotton mixed with polyamide or something like, I don't know if it's polyamide or not. Maybe polyester, polyamide, I'm not sure. A couple little blends of, plasticky ingredients. But mostly it is cotton. And so obviously, plastic is not ideal, but I think that probably makes a difference in this composition and why this yarn is so easy to knit with. It's a real enjoyable yarn to knit with. It is cool. It's bouncy, like it's a little bit, you can kind of tell, kind of like a bouncy yarn. It's not like elastic, but it must be that content which makes it. I guess it's also probably the way it's spun. It looks to be quite loose, a little bit loose. I don't know if you can even tell, but then you tighten it and it just kind of gets obviously a little bit tighter. And it is really comfortable. It's so comfortable, and it is truly the perfect summer project because it's not warm. It's just this beautiful cotton that is breathable and lovely. And I think that these are going to be very, very comfortable to wear as well. I tried it on already, and I love the feel of it. The cotton is such a different experience than wool. It really feels so different, but it's really comfortable and to knit, and I think to wear as well. So I'm excited about that. I think they're going to be hopefully good wearing socks. And now that I know that I like the yarn, I do think that I'm going to want to get another ball or two to knit up a couple more little fruit-inspired socks for the summer. I just think it's a really sweet idea. I don't think I'm going to unfortunately be able to get 2 pairs of socks in my size out of this yarn because, it could be that that's not true. We'll see. But this is 100 grams, and many people said, thank you so much if you gave your input and kind of helped me think over this knitting 2 pairs out of 1 ball of yarn. But I think I did weigh this finished sock, and it is 30 grams. So if it's 30 grams and the other one's 30 grams, that's 60 grams. I don't think I'll get 2 pairs in my size then out of 40 grams. But I'm going to try with the next ball to maybe make it work with the Rose City roller socks. I had never seen this sock pattern before, but it was suggested to me. And honestly, these socks look so cute. It's a free pattern. on Ravelry. I've downloaded it and it just looks super cute. It's these little rolly tops and then it's just the heel and the sock, and it looks super adorable, and I think it would be a lot of fun to knit. So I might try that out. I might even try that with this. I don't know how much the cuff weighs, how much the cuff contributes, but I was also given the amazing idea of trying toe-up socks. And I've knit toe-up socks once before. I don't know though. I have a pair that I did an afterthought heel in, and I think I did that with toe-up socks, but I don't remember exactly. It was a long time ago, and I think that might be an alternative. I might try that out. I love traditional slip stitch, heel, flap, and gusset socks. Everything about just heel, flap, and gusset socks, I just think that they wear so well. I do like the knitting process of them, and I was never that into knitting. I didn't do a fish lips kiss heel too. I wasn't that into it, but I maybe need to try again with toe-up socks. I think that might be a good alternative and maybe also a good opportunity to try something new, try a new technique, and just see how I like that. I think that might be fun to try. So we'll see if I try that. I might. But right now I just have to finish these socks and then see what the future holds for me. Hopefully another ball or two of this Regia Tutti Frutti yarn. I would love the orange one. And I would also love, and I would definitely call those orange blossom socks based on Orange Blossom. I think that's her name, from Strawberry Shortcake. She was also an amazing character. And I also want to get the apple version of this sock. It's a really cool colorway that's like apple inspired. And it's like kind of this appley warm yellow with little bits of like warm reds, like orangey red and green, like a little bit of appley green. It's gorgeous. I think the colorway is super cute and super fun. So I think I would love to knit that as well. But we'll see what the future holds. Right now I just am knitting these. We'll see. Hopefully next week I'll have the complete finished object to show you, this pair of Strawberry Shortcake socks. But anyway, moving on to the next project I have to show you, my next half object. It is my Elizabeth I sweater. I've been knitting on this for, I don't know when I cast it on. I think it's definitely been over a month. But if you're not familiar, this is a project I'm knitting for the Tudor Roses KAL, which is a knit along that I am hosting along with two other podcasters, Bella of the 100 Acre Wool podcast and Sophie of the Banket Creations podcast. And this is a knit along in which we are knitting projects from Alice Starmore's Tudor Roses book. It's a beautiful book full of gorgeous patterns, all inspired by the women of the Tudor era and the Tudor dynasty. And it's just really fun to knit these gorgeous, elaborate, stunning patterns. And Bella is working on the Amberlin pattern, and it's like every time I see an update, a photo update, or she shows it on her podcast, I am just absolutely blown away. It's so breathtaking and just such a gorgeous pattern and a gorgeous design, and her color choices are just so divine. But I have been knitting very faithfully along on my Elizabeth I, which is inspired by, obviously, Queen Elizabeth I of England. And now my half object today, which isn't quite half, but is a big milestone. I've reached a big milestone in the knitting process, and that is that I finished the first piece. One of the body pieces I've completed. I'm not sure if it's the front or the back. I think that they're both identical, so I don't know which side it's going to be. But here it is. Oh my gosh, look at it. It's done. The first side, it's rolling up on the sides a lot, majorly. So you've got to believe me when I tell you it's like another couple of centimeters on each side. That's how wide it is. You can see if I like roll it out. I need to block it. And so that you can see it properly, and I can show you a little bit better how it looks, and I can take some good photos, some good process photos of it. But it's just such a gorgeous piece of knitting. I'm so happy to have it done already, and I'm so excited to knit the next part. I had considered for a moment casting on the sleeves and knitting the sleeves before doing the other half of the body, because they're all in pieces. Theoretically I could do that, or even just knit one sleeve, I'm not sure. But I decided against it. I decided, I just knit this piece and I'm kind of in the flow of this piece. It would make sense to knit that then, just to keep consistent. I'm in love with the drama of this pattern. Look at the shaping. Okay, it's rolling up like I said, but even when it's rolling up, you can just see that crazy, amazing waist shaping, how dramatic that is. And oh, it's just something so unique. I've never done that much shaping on a garment before, and it's super exciting to see how it just looks, just this piece. I'm so excited to see how it wears and how it looks on. I think it's going to be just a totally unique, special garment, and I can't wait to wear it. I think it'll be one that I'll wear quite a lot in the autumn and winter. You know, in the autumn, I think it'll be perfect for like an outdoor sweater, and then in the winter, just kind of like cozy indoor sweater. Although I don't quite think I'd use the word cozy for this sweater. I think it's definitely more of it's a bit of a dramatic statement sweater. When I first saw this pattern, I was like kind of in awe of it because it's not something you see every day. It's very unique. Just the shaping alone, but especially even this like deep V and this kind of beautiful cable design. It's just something that you don't see very often at all. I've never seen a pattern quite like this one before, but Alice Starmore's patterns are usually just one of a kind and very, very iconic. And I love her designs. I'm a huge Alice Starmore fan. So it's a real honor to be able to knit this also with her yarn, with the Starmore yarn, the Hebridean 2-ply yarn from Virtual Yarns. Yeah, this is the colorway Machair, which I have not mentioned yet, but it's a beautiful, beautiful colorway. As you can see kind of knit up in the piece a little bit better maybe than when I always showed it. I really need to block it, but when I've always showed it kind of on the needles, you can maybe see a little bit better how it's knit up. All the beautiful little kind of tweedy bits of different colors. It's worsted spun, dyed in the fleece, and then spun. So all these gorgeous tones come through in the garment. I hope that the camera picks it up. It probably won't, but I need to take a progress photo, and then hopefully you'll be able to see it a little bit better if you want to. Okay, I can update it then on Ravelry and also on Instagram. But it's like you can just see these beautiful little bits of red and blues and different shades of green. It's such a gorgeous, gorgeous colorway, and just I never get tired of looking at this colorway. It's definitely my color, my taste 100% through and through. It's also interesting construction because you shape for the arms holes as you see on each side, but then you shape for the neck up at the top, which is kind of a unique shape. You shape it here, and I think at the end you pick them all up and then knit a little bit more for the neckline. But anyway, that's my Elizabeth I progress, this completed first piece. I'm so happy to have it done. I'm so excited to knit the next piece, and yeah, I'm that much closer to getting to wear it. I can't wait to wear it. I have cast on the other piece. I've just done a tiny bit, as you can see. I cast on and then I've knit the bottom bit. You knit a chart at the bottom, and I'm over halfway done with that chart already. So I only have a little bit left to go, but it's moving along. Oh, it's so cute. I love it. It's so fun to start over, actually. I love to start over on the second piece. It's like I'm re-experiencing that process again, which I really enjoyed the first time. And this time I kind of know it. I know it, it's not the first time I'm knitting it. So it goes by a little quicker too. I don't need to look, check direction, double check everything. I think it goes by smoothly. Not to say I'm not careful not to make mistakes, because I'm trying to be very careful. I would not like to rip back. I don't like ripping back at all. And so I'm trying to avoid all mistakes possible, if possible. And that is all being held in my beautiful Noble Character Crafts bag, which, it's just such a lovely bag and the perfect size for this project. And here's the skein of yarn, so you can see how it looks in the skein if you haven't before. A little bit, lots of little fluff on it. It's just beautiful, beautiful yarn, beautiful colorway. And of course, everything will be linked below. That's all I have to share with you as far as works in progress go. Sock knitting, sweater knitting. This week, I don't have any new squares to show you on my Scrappy patchwork blanket. I'm halfway through one square, but rather than show you that, I'll just save it for next time when hopefully I have a little bit more to share with you. But I do have something that I wanted to ask your advice about. I wanted to hear your thoughts on, because I'm really unsure. And this is an ancient project I'm about to show you, a project that I started maybe in 2017 or around 2000. No, that can't be 2017. No, it must have been 2013. Yeah, it's been a long time. since I've started it. So maybe like almost 8 years ago. I don't know, it could have been maybe 2014, but I think it's probably 2013 that I first started this. I have to check Ravelry. I don't know if I wrote it on there or not. I've not been the best Ravelry project updater. At some points, I did a few projects and I like stayed consistent for a couple of projects, but mostly I've not been very good at it. But this is the, I think, Spiral Blanket of Awesome it is called. I think that's what the pattern is called. It's this giant spiral blanket, which is a very, very fun pattern and just a really cute pattern. There are lots of cute projects on the project page of this pattern that I was inspired by at the time, and I thought this would be a good Scrappy project when I first started it. I thought, every last gram that I have of sock yarn, I'm just going to put in this blanket. I'm going to knit it like just a spiral blanket and have it as just this kind of wacky, fun, giant circular spiral blanket of scraps. And it was fun to knit on. I remember really enjoying knitting on it when I first started and just adding a couple of little bits of yarn, different colorways from socks I worked on and other little fingering weight projects. But I stopped knitting it after a while and let it sit, and it languished for years. And at some point it got moths, which was also the reason why I asked about moths, because this was a very traumatic moment to see these holes emerge and to see the moths feasting on the wool. They also attacked a shawl of mine at the time, which thankfully is now okay, and I mended that shawl. But yeah, I was just disappointed, purely disappointed when I saw that, and I kind of tried to eradicate the moths. But, honestly, my thought process was, at some point, I'm going to fix up all these holes, mend them all, and then I'm going to continue on this blanket, or maybe just cast it off, because it's kind of big enough that it could be a little fun baby-sized blanket. So that was my plan, and I kept thinking, that's going to happen, it's going to happen. I've kept it kind of near my project so that I have my eye on it, but it's been sitting there for so long, so long, that now I'm wondering, is it even worth it? Should I even go to the trouble of casting off and mending the little holes? Because there are quite a lot of holes here. There, you can see here's one. There are lots of them, just all throughout. I don't know if it will show up so well, or yeah, you can see here. No, you can't. I don't know if you can really tell. There's one. There are lots of them, but I don't know if you can really see them on camera very well. But I don't really want to go through the trouble of mending them, because honestly, this color scheme I'm not the biggest fan of. This middle sock yarn is very fun because it was one of the very first pairs of socks I ever knit. I just bought this yarn on Etsy. I don't know what it was, but I bought it on Etsy and I really loved these socks. I still wear these socks that I knit from this yarn. And yeah, a lot of these colorways have little stories. This is again the Peter Rabbit colorway, which I showed you before on my patchwork blanket. And this was just a skein of pink yarn. I had some tonal yarn, and this right here was beautiful. Both of these were Woolen Vine yarns. This purple one is actually a merino single yarn that I knit mittens out of, and that I still wear as well. I love these mittens. This colorway was called Gothic Garden, and I loved it. It's like purple. It has little bits of green. And this one was an Outlander colorway that was like an off colorway. It was a darker version of the one she had dyed up at that time. And it's so pretty. I really love all these yarns, but they just I don't love the way that they blend together. I don't like the way that they look together. This one and this one and this one, I just don't like the combination very much. And I just truly have no desire at all to mend up those holes. And even if I cast it off, I just don't want to. And I've been waiting for the inspiration to strike for so long. I almost doubt that it ever will strike, unfortunately. And so I've thought about maybe frogging this whole entire thing and using this yarn for my now patchwork blanket to kind of fit them in, the pieces that can, into fill in the gaps there, because I don't have that many scraps and I need scraps. And I would just knit straight from this. I would just pull and just keep knitting straight from this project. I think that would work and that would be fun. I don't know. It's hard to I had it sitting there for so long. It's hard to think about ripping it back. But on the other hand, I truly have no desire and I want to put this yarn to good use. So tell me your thoughts. What would you do if you were in my position? Would you just go ahead and rip back and use the yarn for something else, or would you wait for the inspiration to strike, or would you just bite the bullet and mend the pieces and just use the blanket for whatever? I'd love your input and I'd love your advice because I'm a little bit lost, but I think I will end up just frogging it and using it because, yeah, as soon as I get over that kind of mental block and just get over myself, I'm going to use it. I'm going to use the other blanket so much more and enjoy it so much more, I think. So we'll see. There it is. My little spiral blanket of awesome. That was so fun to knit back in the day, a long, long time ago. Yeah, I don't know. It must have been like 7 or 8 years ago that I knit this, or at least that I cast it on. Because obviously I took little breaks between each piece. But yeah, that's what I really needed your help on. I hope you can give me some advice. That's all I have to share with you knitting wise today. I think that's all the projects I have to share with you. My socks and sweater and this kind of giant spiral blanket. Today I'm drinking some cold green tea because I just never drank it. I love to have my tea at breakfast time, but I just didn't get around to it, so now I'm drinking it, which is okay. I don't mind drinking it late. I love this teacup. It's super cute. It's a really fun one. We got this at a flea market back in the day when flea markets were open. Slowly the world is opening up here where I live in Germany, and it's such an amazing feeling to like have the ability to once again, meet with friends more consistently and just get out of the house and just feel like the world is kind of returning to a kind of state of normalcy almost, kind of, sort of. Who knows when flea markets will be possible again, if they will be soon. I hope they will be because Nick and I just love going to flea markets. Just so much fun to find treasures and to look around. In the States, I grew up being a big thrifter. We thrifted a lot of clothes and fun decor and all kinds of different things. And that here in the town I live in doesn't really exist. There are not that many secondhand stores. There are a couple of like secondhand boutique stores, which are nice, but not very many like Goodwill. In the States, there's like Goodwill and like kind of charity shop kind of stores that are more affordable. That doesn't exist here very much on a huge scale in my town. There are only a couple of little spots, but flea markets are more where it's at for getting and finding cool treasures. So I really, really love to go to them. It's really exciting because I am going to be able to go once again this year in the summer to the US for a couple of weeks, and it's just so exciting that that's going to be possible again this year for me. Nick will be able to go with me this time as well, and so it'll be the three of us, our little family, being able to travel over to the States. So I'm really excited about that, and that's going to be really special. But with this podcast, I was thinking about it because last time I was in the States, I wasn't able to upload at all. I wasn't able to access my account from the States because of like verification. Like I have to verify it through my phone, and I couldn't do that from there. So I was thinking, well, I'm not going to be gone very long, but I want to plan a couple of little knitting, fun, nature-related videos for my absence. And one of which is the foraging video that I promised. I'm going to share that with you. It's kind of like going to be a fun little come along with me foraging, knitting adventure video. But I also have an interview with my mom that I have put off editing, and so I'm editing that to share with you as well. It's kind of a little bit fiber knitting related. But another video I thought of sharing with you would be a Q&A video. I don't know what it is about Q&As, but I love watching Q&As. I love getting to know people and their personalities from a different side. And I think Q&As show that so well because often, you just don't hear certain things. And I think those answers are just fun. I really enjoy them. So it is interesting and kind of strange to think about that in the framework of oneself. But I thought if you're interested and if you have any questions for me at all, knitting related or non-knitting related, you can feel free to ask them in the comments below. I'll collect them and then I'll make a little video answering them. You can just ask me anything you like. I'll also maybe make a little question option button on Instagram so you can ask me them there if you prefer. But yeah, if you have questions for a Q&A video, leave them below in the comments and I would be really excited and really happy to answer them so that I have a little video to share with you as well while I'm gone in the States. But anyway, the last thing though before I go that I wanted to talk to you about and share with you are a couple of knitting podcasts that I really enjoyed. A couple of podcasters who I feel like have become like friends to me, who I just love from afar. I really enjoy sitting and catching up with them whenever I can. there are so many podcasts that I've really been enjoying lately, but I thought I'd share 4 with you today, and every once in a while just share with you a couple that I've enjoyed to share the love, because sometimes you're just looking for some new inspiration, and I found some amazing podcasts through others' recommendations. So maybe you're looking for someone new to watch too, and you can find that through this. So the first person I wanted to mention is Kate of the Kate Knit Co podcast. And she's a very new podcaster. She has a brand new podcast. I think as of right now, she only has 2 or 3 episodes. I think I have one that I want to watch, that I'm like getting ready to watch. I think she has 3 because I've watched 2 of hers. But she's just an amazing natural in front of the camera. She's so much fun to watch. She's so much fun to sit down with and kind of just knit with. She's just like a cool girl. She's like the coolest girl ever. And her aesthetic is so gorgeous. She makes beautiful things, such fun things. She honestly, like everything she makes, I want to copycat make because she makes the coolest stuff. I actually followed her on Instagram and saw her stuff on Instagram before she even started her podcast. So I've been following her for a little while, and I just really love what she does, loves what she makes, and she's just such a fun person to catch up with on her videos. So you should definitely check her out. That's Kate Knit Co. And of course, it will be linked as well in the description box. The next person I wanted to mention is a podcast that I have mentioned before on this podcast, but it's been a long time. This is Alexandra of the November Woods podcast. Alexandra is a podcast. Her podcast is one that I just absolutely adore watching. She's got the most serene, lovely presence to watch, and she knits such gorgeous things. She's right now hosting a knit along called the Heirloom Cable KAL, and it's kind of just a knit along where you can knit very elaborate, beautiful heirloom kind of cabled garments or designs, or like large designs. And she's knitting, I think it's an Alice Starmore pattern. I think it's the Irish moss pattern from her Aran knitting book, from Alice Starmore's Aran knitting book. And it's just breathtaking. It's so gorgeous. And she's knitting it actually, I think, for her fiance's father, which is, I think, such an amazing gift to give someone, like such an intricate, huge, beautiful piece of knitting. I think is such an amazing gift, and I really admire that she gives that. But I love following her. I love her podcast, and she also has recently started the November Woods Fiber Co. Yarn dyeing company, where she's selling her beautiful plant and historically dyed, like yarn dyed using historical methods kind of yarn. I love watching her journey as well. She's hand dyed yarn, and love her natural dyeing kind of process, and she really loves talking about the lifespan of yarn and garments, and just the whole process of knitting and garment making and mending. I'm always so inspired by her and just love watching her. So you should definitely check her out as well. She's just absolutely amazing, and I'm sure you'll enjoy her too. And the third person I wanted to mention is Nikki of the Knitting with Cat Hair podcast. She's another who I love to watch and love to catch up with. I feel like she's another who's become like also a friend from afar through this kind of portal of Instagram and YouTube and podcasting world. But I love her knitwear and what she makes. She also is hosting a really cool knit along right now called the Around the World Make Along, where it's like set up into, it's a year-long knit along, which is kind of split up into trimesters, and there's different kind of Western Hemisphere, Easter, your country. It's just a really cool make along as well. And I think she's just a very thoughtful person, and she's just a lovely presence. So you should absolutely check out her podcast too. I remember when I first saw her username like months ago, and I was immediately interested because I have a cat, and I'm like a cat person, honestly. I love dogs too, and I love actually pretty much every animal. I love a lot of animals except for rodents. I'm not a rodent person at all in any way. I like snakes, and I like spiders, and I like farm animals, and I like fish, but I don't like rodents. But anyway, I love cats so much, and we have a cat. It's very precious to me, and I just thought her username was just so funny and so cute, because knitting with cat hair, because I've mentioned before that Sagwa, our cat, has just a ton of hair that falls everywhere, and like I have to vacuum at least once a day, but mostly like 2 or 3 times a day in order to get his hair and keep our home like clean. So sometimes it does feel like I'm knitting with cat hair. And so I just love that. I remember just loving her username right away. But anyway, you should definitely check out Nikki's podcast too. And the last podcast that I wanted to mention is another wonderful one that I just love to watch and is so, so special. And that is the Little Monkeys and Me podcast. The host, Fernanda, is just so radiant and so beautiful. And just, she's so much fun to watch. I think she doesn't upload as often. I think she does like once a month. She does a podcast, but because of that, she always has lots of fun things to show. And yeah, she is a mother to 3 and she's a homeschool mother. And I think she's just so lovely. She's such a lovely person. And I was homeschooled and I really loved being homeschooled. So I love seeing other people who homeschool their children. Honestly, Esmeralda's one, but I would love to homeschool her, but I think I can't homeschool her because we live in Germany and it's actually not possible to homeschool here. It's, like illegal to homeschool. So that's not going to happen for us, but it's okay. I also think, Nick being a German culturally, he always has been a little bit like kind of weirded out by the concept of homeschooling. And he's like, I don't know, is homeschooling and like home education, is it legitimate? I'm like, look at me. I made it through my life. In fact, like my scores and everything were always really, really good. I graduated early officially, and academically, I felt very, very equipped being homeschooled. And I think I'm just a huge advocate and fan of homeschooling. So yeah, long story short, I can't do it myself, I think, but I love seeing moms who homeschool, and just, it's so much fun. So I really, really enjoy Fernanda's podcast too. She's just such an amazing, lovely person. She always makes me smile when I sit with her and watch one of her podcasts. So yeah, that's all I have to share with you. I hope that you check all of them out and get inspired by their work and their personalities and just enjoy. Maybe you're looking for some new inspiration and you can find it that way. And I feel like each one of the podcasts that I've mentioned have very distinct styles and aesthetics and personalities. And I love that diversity. I love the diversity of like community, what we can find watching other people. I really do. So anyway, I am so glad that you watched and you have been with me here. It's been so lovely to have you. And I hope that you'll come back next time. If you enjoyed this video and this podcast, please leave a like and subscribe if you want to watch more videos. It would be so much fun to have you back again. Otherwise, I wish you a wonderful week with lots of very, very happy knitting. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.